Good evening, everyone. This is Royce coming back at you with yet another one of my mom's recipes. Tonight on the docket we have bacon fried rice, a classic recipe in the Miller household dating back at least two generations. My mom made it, and her mother made it. What is it? A deceptively simple dish of bacon, onions, rice, and soy sauce. Now, while this is obviously an American adaptation of the classic Cantonese fried rice. Uh, Apparently, bacon isn't as foreign to Asian cuisine as I think, because there's a lot of like bacon and pork belly in Japanese cookery. Um, this My mom made this rice this morning, and it keeps very well. It microwaves very well, which is important for dishes with a lot of grease in them. The sweet of the onions balances off the fatty salt of the bacon, and the soy sauce fried rice. Just it all comes together so well. My mom usually makes this with minute rice, but she was feeling fancy for this, so she made jasmine rice last night. Then made the fried rice with jasmine rice with leftover jasmine rice today. So good. Uh, Fried rice has been one of my favorite Chinese food dishes since I was a child. We'd go to the Oriental Palace in Glenwood and I'd order chicken fried rice. And it was awesome. It didn't come with many veggies though. And this doesn't come with many veggies either. In fact, the chicken fried rice I grew up with literally had no veggies at all. This at least has onions. I'm eating with a spoon because I don't eat with chopsticks, and a fork would have been a kind of moot point with this dish because the rice is nice and loose. My mom told me to try and share with my cousin, but he doesn't like bacon fried rice because it's too greasy. Which, yeah, because like you're basically, it's kind of like a classic bacon skillet where you fry up the bacon, then you fry everything in the rendered bacon fat. And of course, this is a very this is a very user-friendly recipe. All you need is a pan and some, well, I mean, like, if you, I mean, like, technically you also need a pot to cook your rice in, but if you already made rice the night before, that's what this is perfect for. Fried rice is kind of like French toast, where its original creation was to solve the problem of what to do with leftovers. French toast was made to deal with stale bread. Fried rice was to deal with cold rice. Then you have people like me who prefer the fried rice. No, she didn't crack an egg in it, which is which might be unusual for fried rice dishes, but it's not unusual for this, especially since I'm not a big egg person anyway. Although I do occasionally like eggs in my fried rice dishes because in that they're scrambled up and basically become a vehicle for the soy sauce that the rice is fried in. Maybe one day I'll get to spotlight the Oriental Palace if it's still open. First time I ever had mushrooms or broccoli without gagging. I was so hungry that I ordered the princess chicken, didn't bother picking through it because I used to pick through my food. Only eat the meat and rice. But that night I was so hungry, I ate the broccoli, and I ate the mushrooms. I'm still not a big fan of broccoli, but now I'll eat mushrooms and stuff. My grandma Cindy used to make this too. I remember one night we came over to her house and it was late. And we were hungry, so she was like, "Oh, you poor babies are starving. Oh, let me make you something." And at 9 p.m. at night, whipped up a big meal for her three little grandbabies. Because you see, with one grandma lived in South Dakota, the other grandma lived in Des Moines, and we lived in Glenwood, which was just east of Omaha. So 3 hours to the South Dakota grandma, 2 hours to the 2 hours to the Des Moines grandma, and if we had school that day, we'd leave after school. So 3 p.m. was a 3 hour drive. And that's not accounting for like rest stops and eating out or whatever. Because my mom liked to eat at the Perkins in Sioux City. Which may be a regional restaurant. I don't hear many people talk about Perkins outside the Midwest. That's good. So yeah, well, I guess since it was my mom's mom, we had to wait for her to get home. So that was at like 5 or 6. So yeah, then it makes sense that we're getting there at like 9 p.m. Because she worked for Conagra, which was over in Omaha. So she had to drive 20 minutes to home, make sure that the car was all packed up, the kids were all strapped in. Then we had to fill the car up with gas and drive all the way to South Dakota. Which, like, it doesn't look that far on a map, but it feels pretty far when you're driving there as a kid. My grandma used to own a motel that hunters would stay at during hunting season. And we'd all stay in rooms. So, like, the kids would all share a room, or sometimes they just, or they were real little, we'd just sleep on the middle. That's how greasy it is. My lips are shiny. Um, oh, my nose is a little clogged now. I just woke up from a nap. Um, I know when we were real little, our grandma would have us all sleep on the floor in front of the TV together, and we would do stuff like watch Star Wars until we fell asleep, or my brother and I used to watch the Disney Vault because I love that intro so much for the Disney Vault. But then after having all this amazing, like, taking a tour of like classic Disney animation and stuff, it would play reruns of that Western Disney used to make back in like the 50s and Zorro. Which my brother liked Zorro. I wasn't a big fan. Because, like, it was live action and I wanted cartoons. But yeah, we used to fall asleep watching Star Wars. And I think I've mentioned this before, how I loved I loved New Hope up until the fight between Vader and Obi-Wan. As soon as that was over, I kind of checked out and fell asleep. Like, to me, that's the real climax of the film. That's the best part. Strike me down and I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. Anyway, thank you for joining me on this little midnight snack, going down memory lane. Y'all have a good one. This is Royce Miller. I'm outie.